Revenge films.
This is my daughter Jane. I'm an ordinary housewife. This is my husband John. He loved our daughter very much. Jane was a daddy's girl. She was the best daughter ever. But then when she was in 5th grade, something changed. She started acting all weird. I didn't think much of it at first, but something was definitely up. She never talked about school anymore, which wasn't like her. Was she getting bullied? I was starting to get worried. Then one day, I saw one of her notebooks. It was clear that she was getting bullied by her classmates. The pages of her textbooks were ripped out, and it looked like they wrote a bunch of mean things in there. It was all erased, so I couldn't really tell what it said, but there were letters I could make out here and there, and it didn't sound very nice. So that's why her clothes were all dirty these days. She was being picked on. I confronted her right away. She hesitated to tell me at first, but after a little while, she started telling me everything.
Mary and Blair, they're the ones bullying me.
I knew she was being bullied at this point, but still, hearing her say those words herself made me shake in anger. My daughter was the sweetest girl in the world. She was always nice to everyone, and she had lots of friends. But these bullies, I guess they didn't like that. They started telling everyone to ignore her, threatening them with violence. Some of her friends still talked to her, but everyone was scared of them, so nobody could do anything about it. I told my husband about this right away. We decided to have a talk with the principal, but he wasn't very helpful. He told us he'd look into it, but nothing really changed. I tried talking to her again, but she didn't really want to talk about it anymore. Then one day she told me,
I don't want to go to school today.
I called the school and asked them what was going on. They told me they already looked into it. They conduct a survey to see if any of the kids were being bullied, and according to the survey, there was no bullying to begin with. It was just a typical scapegoat for the schools in a situation like this. We couldn't rely on them to do anything. That night, I told my husband about all this, and he was furious that the school wasn't doing anything. I've known him for years, but I've never seen him this angry before. Then he said,
I'm gonna go talk to these kids myself!
He was starting to scare me a little bit. I told him it was a bad idea for him to get directly involved, but...
Look, if they got in a fight or something, I agree. I shouldn't get myself involved. I'd let the kids figure it out themselves. But this isn't the same. They're bullying her. Someone has to step in. Someone has to stand up for her. What if she kills herself over this? I'm not gonna let that happen!
I guess he did have a point. I've only ever heard about these kinds of things in the news, but now it was happening to my own daughter. Someone had to protect her, and the school wasn't going to do anything. They didn't care. She was just a kid. There was too much for her to handle on her own, and he was right. We had to step in and help her before it was too late. I wasn't going to let these bullies hurt my baby anymore. These two girls, they were good friends. They always walked home together. They lived in the neighborhood, so we saw them from time to time. We both knew what they looked like, and a few days later, it was already Friday. My husband took the afternoon off and came home early. Then, as they were walking back from school, he confronted them. We thought about going to their parents first, but seeing how school wasn't going to admit to doing anything, we thought it was a waste of time. They'd probably deny it, and I actually knew their parents. They were just like their kids. Whenever we had a bake sale and stuff, they showed up and never did anything to help out. Talking to people like that was a waste of time. About an hour later, my husband came home and said,
Don't worry about a thing. You can go back to school starting tomorrow.
My daughter looked skeptical. She looked over at me not knowing what to do, so I said to her, Listen, dear, let's give it a try. And if something happens, you can come home right away. I'll even wait for you outside the school. What do you say? She paused for a few seconds to think. She nodded her head, saying that she would be willing to give it a try. I was still a bit nervous, though. My husband said everything was going to be fine, but I don't know. I still had my doubts. The next day, I walked my daughter to school and waited outside the gate for a few hours, but she never came out. So I headed home around lunch. Then a few hours later, she came home.
I'm home.
Hey, dear, how was school?
It was good. Dad was right. I didn't get bullied.
It was such a relief. After that, my daughter fell asleep. I asked my husband how he convinced the bullies to leave our daughter alone. But when he told me, I was shocked. Apparently, he took them to a secluded place of the park, and he threatened them.
I know you two are bullying my daughter. If you bother her again, I'm gonna hurt you and your family. You understand that? If you want to tell on me, fine. I'll still hurt your family. If you think I'm joking, try me. I dare you. Bullies are the worst kind of human beings. If you hurt my daughter again, I'm gonna do everything I can to make your lives miserable. Mark my words. You know what? Don't bother coming to school anymore. You understand me? Answer me! You can cry all you want. Nobody's gonna help you. And you did the same thing to my daughter, so cry all you want. It's not gonna do you any good. My daughter's gonna go back to school tomorrow. If you even look at her the wrong way, you're gonna end up regretting it. Don't make me hurt you.
He scared the living crap out of them, but I guess they learned their lesson. I knew talking to them wasn't going to be easy, and these types of people, you gotta be tough with them. But still, I wasn't sure if this was the right way to handle things. I mean, they were just kids.
Look, I know what you're thinking. I went too far. And I agree. But I had no choice. The school wasn't gonna help, and their parents would never admit that their kids were bullying someone. So I decided to talk to them directly. It was the only way.
I guess he did have a point. It was really extreme, but it was the only way to get the message across. We couldn't let those girls hurt our daughter anymore, and we had to act fast, so I guess it was the right move. And the two girls, they started behaving after that. I guess my husband's words really got to them. My daughter no longer had to worry about them. And not only that, whenever their friends started messing around with our daughter, they came and stopped them. Hey, stop messing with her! Just stay away from her, please! When my husband asked them why they were bullying her in the first place, they just said they were bored. They had too much time in their hands. They just wanted something to kill time, apparently. So my daughter didn't even do anything to them. She just got unlucky. Hearing that made my stomach cringe. I wanted to smack these girls across the face myself. Anyways, after that, my daughter started going to school again. She was back to being herself, and I was really happy for her. That weekend, I went back out to the store and got her new stationaries and notebooks. I wanted to do everything I can to help her get her life back on track. Those bullies never bothered anyone again. My daughter told me that they were now quiet kids in class. I guess my husband scared them good. Sometimes my daughter asked him how he got them to back off, but he never told the truth. The way my husband handled this, maybe it wasn't the right way, but he got the job done before it was too late, and some might not agree with it, but I'm glad he did what he did.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.